Hello, how you guys doing? I hope all is well. Welcome to the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Gigi, and when I tell you the stuff that I am coming across, you guys, it is heartbreaking. I'm hearing stories of Oprah Winfrey. They are stating that Oprah was not only getting young girls, but getting young boys for Diddy. Okay, if you guys did not know, look around. It's all been over the news that Diddy has this thing for young boys. Okay, so we do know that. We do know young boys have came out, they're going to sue, and they're telling their stories about what was going on with the white parties, the freak-offs, and how their parents brought them to these parties. Wow. So I want you guys to listen and I want you guys to comment because I want to know what you guys have to say about all of these stories. I'm not making this up. So let's listen here and see what they have to say. And I just want to say thank you all for your likes, your support, and your comments. And I urge you to please continue with the likes, comments, and we have to steady with the fight. All right. So let's hear what they had to say.
Our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved.
Son, wait a minute, I'm going to disrupt the pattern that's put in place, the system that's put in place, designed to take you out, right? I'm going to disrupt that. I'm going to give you some information.
She's smart.
Yep.
She has a photographic memory. So she has qualifications to do it, and she's very successful.
So my intention was to make people think I was nice.
Since his arrest on September 16th, Diddy has allegedly been doing everything to cash in his get-out-of-jail card, including spilling the tea on the all-powerful Ms. Winfrey. Most people already thought she was shady, but guess who else is allegedly in on it and has also, allegedly, fled the country? Her longtime partner, Stedman Graham. Apparently, gracing Diddy's infamous parties was seemingly a couple thing for Graham and Winfrey, and now the authorities are allegedly hot on their trail.
I already knew that Diddy and Oprah is about to get arrested.
Why would Diddy string them up if they were all in on it from the beginning? You might have heard that Diddy was denied bail on 2 different occasions, even after putting up his mother's multi-million-dollar home. Sounds like something a desperate person would do, don't you agree? Well, now the rapper seems to be taking a different route by offering up some major names in the industry that several people alleged were in on it with him. And do you know who reports seem to be pointing at? Ms. Winfrey and her man?
So I never say anything like that because I felt like it devalued me and my family.
Did they know about Diddy's attacks on women? Not only do several people believe she was aware of just how demented Diddy was over the years, but some sources are alleging that the host was involved in it while it was happening. And there's a pattern to back up those claims.
We arrested a former employee of who was working at Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. She was arrested yesterday for several charges.
Over the years, there have been several men in the entertainment world who have been accused of inappropriate behavior, ranging from groping people against their will to full-on forcing them to do the unthinkable. At the mention of this, you may think of names like Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein, and more recently now, Diddy. Besides being in the industry, do you know the one other thing these men have in common? Cordial relationship with the queen of daytime TV, Winfrey.
And he was with people in which I admired dearly. He was with Naomi Campbell, he had Oprah Winfrey there with him, who entered the room and was swinging off his arm. And
does this mean Lady O might know more than she's been giving on? Child, that's only the tip of the iceberg.
So Rose McGowan has put Oprah on blast. Rose recently called out Oprah on Twitter over her past associations with some controversial men.
See, the thing with Diddy's recent arrest is that it proves that the rapper actually learned from where those other demented names failed. While Diddy may be guilty of several of the heinous accusations against him, the rapper made it a point to carry several other celebrities along with him.
They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing.
Now, Epstein allegedly did this too. But unlike in his case, the authorities actually found clips of other celebrities indulging in some of the same messed up things Diddy himself is accused of. And it seems Winfrey's man has just found out how deeply involved his beloved partner may have been in them. No one knows if it's the fear of getting roped in too, or the sheer shock of finding the person he's known for decades may be just as bad as the other names here. But word on the street is that the man fled. Big question is, what exactly could he have seen and heard to make him jump ship without a second thought? It'll blow your mind.
I'm dedicated to her happiness, and so that's great for her. And I want her to be the best she could possibly be, and she's done a pretty good job of doing it.
When you've been with one of the entertainment industry's most powerful women for decades, it's only expected that you've seen a thing or two that would absolutely shock the public. This seems to have been Stedman Graham's story until it became too much to handle. This may come as a shock to many because Winfrey's partner hasn't exactly been seated in the limelight, but trust me, he's always been in the picture. Winfrey and Stedman Graham have been together since 1986, which is an incredible 38 years. Their relationship is pretty unique. They've never married or had kids, despite all the public speculation. Stedman, who's a successful author and businessman, tends to keep a low profile, often staying out of the spotlight that's always on O. That was until Diddy's case blew up. Some recent updates in the investigation on Diddy, and those involved in the things he was accused of, seem to have yielded some information that has now put Graham and his woman in the spotlight, and not for the right reasons. In the past, the only thing that brought their relationship to the headlines was its unconventionality, as their relationship has been anything but normal. Case in point, their current arrangement. In 1992, Stedman proposed to Winfrey, and she accepted. However, the wedding never happened. Winfrey has since explained that she realized she didn't want the constraints of a traditional marriage. In her column in O, the O magazine, she wrote about how she had doubts after saying yes to his proposal. I had doubts. I realized I didn't actually want a marriage. I wanted to be asked. I wanted to know he felt I was worthy of being his missus, but I didn't want the sacrifices, the compromises, the day in day out commitment required to make a marriage work. My life with the show was my priority, and we both knew it. She continued by writing that he has individual personhood. He isn't just Oprah's man, and they share the same important values. And because we relish seeing the other fulfill and manifest their destiny and purpose, she finished. Now you see, maybe that is why there's been a lot of talk about how Winfrey seems to always be focused on herself, with some wondering if she's ever really considered how Stedman feels. People speculate that this might be why Stedman is reportedly fed up with the constant pressure and spotlight. What gives this perspective merit is that for someone whose entire brand is based on being politically correct and being the most upstanding citizen, Winfrey has had her fair share of controversies, accusations of smear, campaigns against critics, sabotaging careers, and some really disturbing claims.
Oprah legitimized the notorious criminal Joe Teixeira, a.k.a. John of God, as a miraculous faith healer, one who could cure cancer.
Back in 2007, Winfrey launched the Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, inspired by Nelson Mandela. It faced initial opposition from the South African government due to its high costs in a poorer area. When the school opened, its luxurious facilities like salons and gyms raised eyebrows. Over the years, scandals have surfaced at the school, but conspiracy theories about HT remain unsubstantiated. So Winfrey built this $40 million school in South Africa, and they had 152 students attend. Winfrey actually handpicked the 152 students who attended her school, but it wasn't long until some of these students were being harmed by one of the employees of the school. Her name is Virginia, and she was 27 years old at the time, and she was charged with 13 counts of getting inappropriate with the kids. Virginia got physical with at least 6 students aged 13 to 15. So these students were handpicked by Winfrey to go and live at this academy. And one of these employees, who is managing the dorm, is physically touching them and doing things to them and harming them. The A scandal that has rocked Winfrey's South African School for Girls does not reflect badly on the famous talk show host, wrote The Times, a Johannesburg newspaper, in an editorial. It reflects badly on this nation, and it should not be surprising that it manifested itself in O's school. O should not be condemned for allegations made against this matron. She should be praised for her decision to aggressively deal with it. This incident was a black mark for South Africa, which has had issues with children being harmed by school employees. Oprah's decision to place these students in harm's way by an employee she selected was deeply concerning. After the news about Virginia broke, Winfrey took decisive action. She traveled to South Africa with a team of investigators to uncover the full extent of what had happened at the academy.
6 students of the 152 accepted students by Oprah to attend the institution, laying accusations on the dorm matron Virginia Tinley Mascabo.
So, it's a good thing Winfrey went down to that school in South Africa to investigate because, her name's all over it. And yeah, unfortunately, that Virginia employee got cleared of all charges. Justice systems, they're messed up everywhere, right? And get this, Virginia turned around and tried to sue Winfrey for defamation, even though she was found innocent. But hey, that's not the only scandal to come out of Oprah's school. It's been one after another since it opened. If it wasn't students getting essayed, then it was stories of underage students getting pregnant, all with her name in front of the school. And can you guess who had a front seat to it all? Her partner, Graham. Anyway, besides the school scandal, Winfrey has been caught up in countless others, many of which have revolved around the same things Diddy has been recently repeatedly accused of. To drive my point, let's take her relationship with Harvey Weinstein, for example. Winfrey and Weinstein have had a professional relationship that stretches back 2 decades. There are many photographs of her kissing and hugging the mogul at award ceremonies and events sponsored by the Weinstein Company. She has starred in and produced movies that his company distributed, including The Butler and The Great Debaters. For those who may not know, Harvey Weinstein is an American filmmaker who rose to become the face of an A for the Me Too movement. Per the news, 5 years ago, the story that had long been whispered in the halls of agencies and studios, as well as on film and television sets, finally became public. A series of bombshell articles revealed that Harvey Weinstein harassed and assaulted dozens of women for decades and used his power to bully them into silence. According to TMZ, Weinstein said Winfrey encouraged him to defend himself publicly, implying that the TV host might have actually been on Weinstein's side against so many women. However, her people said they never spoke directly and she was only interested in talking to him for a TV interview.
Let's talk about what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. I know you posted on. And so I think this is a watershed moment. And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
Interestingly, Winfrey made no mention of Weinstein during her inspiring Golden Globe speech. She has made it clear during other public utterances on the scandal that the cultural shift underway went much further than Weinstein's crimes alone. In fact, according to reports from a couple of years back, an aspiring actress said Harvey Weinstein used Winfrey and Naomi Campbell to dupe her into thinking he would help her with her career, only to use her for
He was with people in which I admired dearly. He was with Naomi Campbell. He had Oprah Winfrey there with him, who entered the room and was swinging off his arm. And
British actress Katie and Noble said she was head over heels impressed when she first met Weinstein at an event in London because he was hanging out with model Campbell and had megastar Winfrey swinging off his arm. I thought obviously this man has something amazing in store for me, she said during a teary-eyed press conference in Manhattan to discuss the lawsuit she filed a day earlier against Weinstein in Manhattan federal court.
I would have to be someone who's established, who everyone would have had to know about before I was privileged enough to meet someone like Oprah. So that gave me so much confidence.
Instead, Weinstein used promises of career advancement to lure the actress to his hotel room in Cannes, France, where he forced himself on her, she said. Considering Weinstein could have allegedly used Winfrey to lure other women, who's to say she didn't do it for other alleged serial assaulters she was close to? This is what brings us to her shady long-time connection with John of God.
But we've been investigating this man's practices around the world and have found a sinister history of police investigations, allegations, and secret recordings.
Sound familiar? Yep, just like Diddy, and as with him, Lady O was also in the middle of this. A couple of years back, Winfrey was caught up in a story involving a false prophet, who also turned out to be a serial... And guess who brought him into the limelight in the first place? Yes, she did. Juan Teixeira de Faria, better known as John of God. became famous for his intense methods of healing. Oprah Winfrey, known for her influential platform, once dedicated an episode of her show to John of God in 2010, amplifying his reach and giving him a seal of legitimacy in the eyes of her millions of viewers. Winfrey's visit to Brazil in 2012 to film an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter further cemented his status as a respected spiritual figure.
One of the most famous spiritual healers in the world rarely talks to anyone on camera. John of God agreed to sit down with me under a mango tree on the grounds of the casa.
Over 4 decades, he worked as a celebrity faith healer in Abadiânia, a small town in central Brazil. It was there, conducting bizarre and unproven medical procedures, that João Teixeira de Faria became known as John of God, building a legion of believers across the world, including a band of loyal followers in Australia who were happy to open their wallets for his supposed miracle-giving touch and ethereal blessings. Each week, people from all corners of the globe flocked in their thousands to John of God's compound, Casa de Dom Inácio, 130 kilometers southwest of Brasilia. There, dressed in all white, many hoped to find a cure for cancer, blindness, or to stand and rise from their wheelchairs. Faria's rising fame was elevated to a new trajectory, courtesy of some Hollywood stardust, when Oprah Winfrey came calling in 2010 for a series titled, Do You Believe in Miracles? In a since-deleted column on her website, Winfrey wrote how she was overwhelmed by the experience of seeing Faria cutting into the bee of a woman without anesthesia, and that she left feeling an overwhelming sense of peace. But this wasn't the same story with everyone.
And did you feel anything at all after you had been in this man's presence?
No, nothing. Nothing at all.
So it was nothing more than a show.
Nonetheless, that appearance on Winfrey's mega platform ensured John of God attracted even more international attention, with Faria's faith-healing compound reportedly luring celebrities and stars, including supermodel Naomi Campbell and Brazilian footballer Ronaldo. But it was regular people, often vulnerable, who were John of God's bread and butter. It was the stream of those visitors that allowed Faria to amass a fortune worth tens of millions of dollars before his world caved in under an avalanche of explosive accusations that he had essayed hundreds of women, and claims he had operated an international baby-teeing ring from his compound.
A man who claims to work miracles and heal the sick. He calls himself John of God, but there's nothing godly about him. Thousands of people flock to him, hoping for a cure to their pain.
8 years later, the Christian world was rocked by an explosive scandal that exposed John of God's true nature. Over 300 women, including his own daughter, bravely came forward to share their harrowing experiences of SA at the hands of the man they had trusted to heal their pain. The accounts were gut-wrenching and painted a chilling picture of manipulation, betrayal, and unspeakable acts. The victims described how they had been lured into private sessions with Faria, seeking solace and relief from their physical and emotional struggles. Instead, they became victims of his perverse desires. Among his followers, Faria became famous for conducting psychic surgeries that he said could cure diseases, particularly cancer. The psychic surgeries involved supernatural, invisible procedures using only the power of what Faria called the entity, some kind of divine connection to cure illnesses. Faria's other surgeries were much less whimsical. He would slice people open without anesthesia or push forceps deep inside the noses of patients who were willing to trust him with tools usually reserved for the hands of trained surgeons, which Faria was most definitely not. Thousands of Australians, some terminally ill or suffering from debilitating sicknesses, reportedly visited his compound over the years, despite critics arguing the faith healer was nothing more than a charlatan, fleecing his believers for a lot more than their time. Media outlets, especially right-wing ones, resurfaced pictures that Winfrey would probably prefer to stay hidden of her palling around with disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, who has been accused of SHing or Aing more than 80 women. But it was more. John of God's entire compound was something of a cash cow.
You see, John of God's supposed healing isn't free. He's a thrifty businessman making tens of millions of dollars.
An Australian 60 Minutes investigation in 2014 found visitors to the compound were prescribed sessions on crystal beds, costing $25, which were believed to earn John of God $1.8 million a year. From a John of God pharmacy, blessed water in standard plastic bottles was sold for $1 and Blessed Herbal Pills, $25 a bottle. It is estimated the pill generated sales of $40,000 a day, a haul of more than $14 million over 1 year. An Australian doctor who traveled with 60 Minutes tested the pills and found they were nothing more than simple passion flower herbal supplements. In the end, it's only expected that Winfrey would hold at least some small bit of accountability for this, but unsurprisingly, she might be responsible for a lot more like this. It's been under wraps for years, but Winfrey has been alleged to have been so connected to Diddy that not only are there talks that she might have been enabling him by providing a steady supply of women, but also a frequent guest at his freak-offs. Hours ago, Allie Carter, a woman alleged to have been a victim of Diddy's parties, released a video speaking about how she was SA'd at those events.
Allie Carter has just made an affidavit of truth that she turned over to the feds against Diddy and other celebrities about how she was allegedly at a Playboy Mansion party.
The woman spoke about how the rap mogul had secret tunnels in his home for discretionary transportation of people, usually women and sometimes younger individuals, to these events. However, she didn't stop at speaking only about her experience. She also name-dropped some celebrities she alluded to having seen at the parties, and among the shocking few she named was old Ms. Winfrey. Now, with the recent surge in claims about people being filmed in those freak-offs, Lady O might not be entirely safe.
The last freak-off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it.
Even the fans have been talking about it since the news about Diddy broke on social media. One person wrote, "Everyone needs to remember that O. Winfrey is on that P. Diddy list as well. And she has been sued for HT, and she continues to TC with the Obamas and everybody else out there in Clinton." A different user wrote, "When everything comes to light, O and Diddy should get the Gaddafi treatment." While Diddy seems to be on his way to getting that treatment, it would appear Lady O's day of reckoning may not be too far behind. Mere hours ago, more updates have come out about Diddy's tapes that might have Lady O a little worried. Attorney Ariel Mitchell-Kidd, who represented one of Sean Diddy Combs' accusers, claims she's been told about the existence of 3S tapes featuring the disgraced music mogul and 3 other celebs. The individuals who contacted me purported to have 3 different tapes with 3 different celebrities, including Diddy, and then a 4th celebrity without Diddy, but in a compromising situation with someone, the lawyer claimed on News Nation's Banfield with guest host Laura Ingle Friday. Mitchell-Kidd added that it is believed the person in the alleged 4th tape was recorded at one of Combs' homes, and said the other 3 individuals were reportedly A-list celebrities. Could Winfrey really be one of those A-listers? For that, we'll have to wait.
Wow. Every day, new people. Can you believe it? Do you actually believe that Oprah was involved? Comment, let us know. Little boys, oh my goodness. We need to find out who are these young boys, and are they already speaking to the lawyers? Are these the young boys that are speaking out and telling the feds their story? And that's why so many people are talking about it, because it's coming from them, you know. Comment, I want to know your thoughts about this. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I'll see you guys on another video. Bye.